you said affordability was a con job, and you didn't want to, you said last night you didn't want to talk about affordability.
I talked about it. When did I not want to talk about it? I talk about it all the time. We are much better than Biden and all of them. Now, just so you understand, do you remember that the Biden administration had the highest inflation in 48 years, but most people say ever recorded? Do you remember that? Right? Do you remember it?
So, yeah.
Did they have the highest inflation in 48 years? Did they? Just answer me the question. You know the answer. The answer is yes. They had the worst inflation in 48 years. We have almost no inflation. We're down now to 2%, and we'll be at maybe 1%. You want to always stay above 1%, actually. You want a little tiny bit of inflation. We're at a perfect number. They were at the highest level in recorded history, okay? And when you talk about affordability, that one fact. Now, let's talk about the second biggest subject after inflation, energy. We're going to be at $2 gasoline. We're going to be approximately $2 very soon. We're a little bit above $2 right now for gasoline. Under Biden, it was $4.50. It even hit $5, but it was $4, $3.50. We're going to be at $2 a gallon.
Okay, so this is absolutely wild. And I mean wild in a way that just shows you how badly Trump miscalculated on this whole Epstein file situation, because Trump tried to block the release of the Epstein documents. Trump tried to keep them secret. Trump tried to prevent Congress from making them public, and he thought he could win. He thought he could control the narrative. He thought he could use his power as president to suppress the files. But then it all fell apart. Then Trump realized he was going to lose. Then Trump realized Congress was going to release the files no matter what he did. And so Trump completely reversed course. Trump completely flipped. Trump went from opposing the bill to endorsing it. And it was humiliating, it was embarrassing, it was a complete backtrack that exposed Trump's weakness. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
She deserted me. Our great Caroline superstar deserted me. Anyway,
how long, sir,
she's right outside.
Mr. President.
How long is
She was going to talk about, because the fake news yesterday, they talked about that. They said, oh, I don't want to talk about affordability. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under Sleepy Joe Biden.
Here she is, sir.
And the prices are way down. Caroline,
Yes, sir.
could you discuss that question that was asked, and how it was asked in such a fake, disgusting manner by the fake news?
Yeah, and I just saw it asked again here, and it's very unfortunate that the reporters in this room refuse to address, sir, what...
Let's get back to the video. So here's what happened. There's this bill in Congress, the Epstein Records Bill. This bill would make public all the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, all the files, all the information, everything. And there's been pressure to release these files for years. People want to know what's in them. People want to know who was involved with Epstein. People want transparency. And initially, Trump opposed this bill. Trump didn't want the files released. Trump didn't want the documents to be public. Trump was blocking it. Trump was working behind the scenes to stop it. Trump was trying to suppress the files. And Trump attacked people who supported the bill. Trump attacked them on Truth Social. Trump called them names. Trump said they were wrong. Trump was really fighting against this bill. And Trump even went after Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know who she is? She's a far-right Republican congresswoman. She's loyal to Trump. She's one of Trump's biggest supporters. But she came out in favor of releasing the Epstein files. She said the files should be public. She supported the bill. And Trump was so angry about that, Trump revoked his endorsement of her. Trump called her a traitor. Trump said she was betraying him. Trump attacked her publicly for supporting the bill. That's how strongly Trump opposed the release of the Epstein files. And the White House was trying everything to block the bill. The White House was calling GOP lawmakers. The White House was telling them not to support the bill. The White House was labeling them soft and foolish for wanting to release the files. The White House was basically saying, if you vote for this bill, Trump's going to come after you. Trump's not going to be happy. You better not do this. But then something happened. Then Speaker Mike Johnson flipped. Speaker Mike Johnson, who's the Republican Speaker of the House, he's Trump's ally. He's supposed to be loyal to Trump. He flipped. He came out and said, there's nothing to hide. We should release the Epstein files. The American people have a right to know. And when the speaker said that, when the Republican speaker came out in favor of the bill, it was over. It was done. Trump knew he couldn't win. Trump knew Congress was going to pass the bill no matter what he did. And so Trump completely reversed course. On November 17th, 2025, Trump went to the Oval Office and said, "Sure, I would sign the Epstein records bill." Trump completely flipped. Trump went from opposing it to supporting it. Trump went from attacking people who supported it to endorsing it. And it was sudden. It was abrupt. It was humiliating. It was a complete backtrack. And Trump tried to spin it. Trump tried to make it look like this was his idea all along. Trump said, "I'm all for transparency. I think the American people should know." But everybody knew what was really happening. Everybody knew that Trump was forced to flip. Everybody knew that Trump realized he was going to lose and decided to get on the right side of the issue at the last minute. Everybody knew that Trump was trying to save face. And here's what's really crazy. Trump ordered the DOJ to investigate Epstein links with Bill Clinton and Larry Summers. Trump said, "If we're going to release the Epstein files, we're going to investigate whether Democrats were involved with Epstein." Trump was basically trying to turn this into a scandal about Democrats. Trump was trying to distract from his own connection to Epstein. Trump was trying to make it about Clinton and Summers instead of about himself. Because here's the thing, Trump had connections to Epstein. Trump knew Epstein. Trump was photographed with Epstein. Trump was in the Epstein circles. And there's questions about how deep those connections went. And Trump didn't want the Epstein files released because he was worried about what might be in them. He was worried about what they might say about him. He was worried about his own associations with Epstein. And that's probably why Trump fought so hard against the bill. That's probably why Trump attacked people who supported it. That's probably why Trump told GOP lawmakers not to vote for it. Trump was trying to protect himself. Trump was trying to keep the files secret so nothing embarrassing about him would come out. But Trump miscalculated. Trump thought he could control Congress. Trump thought he could suppress the files. Trump thought he could use his power as president to keep the documents secret. But he was wrong. Congress was going to release them anyway. Congress had the votes. Congress was going to do it no matter what Trump did. And so Trump had to flip. And that's humiliating. That's embarrassing. That's the kind of thing that shows Trump's not as powerful as he thinks he is. That's the kind of thing that shows that even Trump has limits. That's the kind of thing that shows that Congress won't always do what Trump wants. And this is really important politically because it shows Trump's weakness. It shows that Trump can be forced to back down. It shows that Trump's not invincible. And Democrats can use this. Democrats can point to this and say, look, Trump tried to suppress information about Epstein. Trump tried to hide the files. Trump tried to cover up, but Congress forced him to back down. Congress forced transparency. That's what happens when you have a functioning Congress that stands up to the president. And it also raises questions. It raises questions about why Trump was so determined to block the release of the Epstein files. It raises questions about what Trump is worried about. It raises questions about what might be in those files about Trump's connections to Epstein. And those are questions that are going to stick with Trump. Those are questions that are going to hurt Trump politically. So this Epstein files reversal, this humiliating backtrack, this moment where Trump was forced to flip on something he fought hard against, it's a big deal. It's a sign of weakness. It's a sign that Trump can be pushed back. It's a sign that Congress can stand up to the president. And it's the kind of thing that matters in politics. It's the kind of thing that affects how people vote. All right, so let me explain what people are completely missing about this Epstein files situation and why Trump's reversal is so important and so telling. Because most people, when they hear that Trump changed his mind about releasing some government files, they think, okay, so what? Politicians change their minds all the time. But this is different. This is about Trump's power. This is about whether Trump can actually control what Congress does. This is about Trump trying to suppress information and failing. So let's back up to what the Epstein files actually are. Jeffrey Epstein was a wealthy financier who was arrested and charged with sex crimes. He allegedly ran a network where he abused minors. He allegedly had connections to powerful people. And when he was arrested, there were files, there were documents, there were records related to his activities. And people wanted to know what was in those files. People wanted to know who was involved. People wanted transparency. And there's been pressure for years to release these files. Activists have pushed for it. Journalists have pushed for it. Members of Congress have pushed for it. People want to know what the Epstein files say. People want to know what they reveal about powerful people. People want the truth. And eventually Congress decided to pass a bill. The bill would require the release of the Epstein files. The bill would make the documents public. The bill would provide transparency. And this bill had support. There were members of Congress who supported it. There were senators who supported it. There was genuine momentum for the bill. But Trump opposed it. Why would Trump oppose releasing government files? Why would Trump want to suppress information? Why would Trump fight against transparency? Well, there's a lot of speculation about that. There's speculation that Trump had connections to Epstein. There's speculation that Trump was worried about what might be in the files. There's speculation that Trump wanted to keep his own potential involvement secret. And Trump did have connections to Epstein. Trump was photographed with Epstein. Trump was in the same circles as Epstein. Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate is in the same area as Epstein's estate in Florida. There's definitely a connection there. And whether that connection was innocent or something more, that's a question. But it's a question that Trump apparently didn't want answered. It's a question that Trump apparently wanted to keep hidden. So Trump fought the bill. Trump opposed it. Trump attacked people who supported it. Trump called Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor for backing the bill. Trump had the White House call GOP lawmakers and tell them not to support it. Trump basically did everything in his power to block the release of the Epstein files. And Trump probably thought he could win. Trump probably thought that as president he had the power to suppress the files. Trump probably thought that Congress would follow his lead. Trump probably thought that he could use his influence to keep the documents secret. Trump probably thought he was in control. But Trump was wrong. Trump miscalculated because there was bipartisan support for the bill. There were Republicans and Democrats who wanted the files released. There were members of Congress who believed in transparency. There were people who weren't going to be intimidated by Trump. There were people who were going to vote for the bill no matter what Trump said. And when Speaker Mike Johnson flipped, when the Republican speaker came out in favor of the bill, it was over. Speaker Johnson is a Trump ally. Speaker Johnson is supposed to be loyal to Trump. And if even Speaker Johnson wasn't going to fight the bill, if even the Republican speaker thought the files should be released, then there was no way to stop it. There was no way to suppress it. There was no way to keep the files secret. And Trump realized that. Trump realized he was going to lose. Trump realized that Congress was going to pass the bill no matter what he did. And at that point, Trump had two choices. Trump could keep fighting and lose, or Trump could flip and try to take credit for the transparency. And Trump chose to flip. Trump chose to go to the Oval Office and say, sure, I would sign the Epstein records bill. Trump chose to suddenly become pro-transparency. Trump chose to pretend like releasing the files was his idea all along. And it was so transparent, it was so obvious that Trump was forced to flip. It was so clear that Trump was trying to save face. Nobody believed that Trump suddenly became a transparency advocate. Nobody believed that Trump cared about the American people knowing what was in the Epstein files. Everybody knew that Trump was forced to back down because he was going to lose otherwise. And here's what's important about that. It shows that Trump is not invincible. It shows that Trump can be forced to back down. It shows that Congress can stand up to the president. It shows that even when the president opposes something, Congress can do it anyway. That's actually a healthy sign for democracy. That's actually a check on presidential power. But it's also embarrassing for Trump. It's humiliating for Trump. It's the kind of thing that damages Trump's image. It's the kind of thing that makes Trump look weak. It's the kind of thing that makes people think, wait, Trump's not as powerful as I thought. Trump can be forced to back down. Trump's not invincible. And politically, this is good for Democrats. Democrats can point to this and say, look, we forced Trump to release the Epstein files. We stood up to Trump and won. This is what happens when you have a Congress that's willing to stand up to the president. This is what happens when you have people in power who care about transparency and the rule of law. And Democrats can also raise questions about why Trump was so desperate to suppress the files. Democrats can say, why did Trump fight so hard to keep these secret? What's Trump worried about? What's Trump trying to hide? If Trump has nothing to do with Epstein, why did Trump try to suppress the files? Those are questions that are going to hurt Trump politically. Those are questions that are going to make people suspicious of Trump. And here's another thing that's important. Trump ordered the DOJ to investigate Epstein links with Bill Clinton and Larry Summers. Trump said, if we're going to release the Epstein files, we're going to investigate whether Democrats were involved. Trump was trying to turn this into a scandal about Democrats. Trump was trying to distract. Trump was trying to say, okay, fine, we'll release the files, but we're also going to investigate Clinton and Summers. But that just made Trump look worse. That made it even more obvious that Trump was trying to protect himself. That made it even more obvious that Trump was worried about what might be in the files. Because if Trump had nothing to hide, if Trump wasn't worried about his own connections to Epstein, then why would Trump try to investigate Democrats? Why would Trump try to create a distraction? The answer is because Trump is worried. Trump is concerned. Trump is nervous about what might be in those files. And Trump is trying to do damage control. Trump is trying to make sure that even if bad stuff about Trump comes out, there's also bad stuff about Democrats in the news at the same time. Trump is trying to dilute the damage by spreading blame. But that's not going to work. People are going to see through that. People are going to understand what Trump is doing. People are going to realize that Trump fought to suppress the files because Trump was worried about his own involvement. And this is important context for understanding Trump's broader power grab, because Trump is trying to control information. Trump is trying to suppress documents. Trump is trying to keep things secret. And this Epstein file situation is just one example. Trump is also trying to suppress Jack Smith's report. Trump is also trying to suppress other information. Trump is trying to use presidential power to hide things from the American people. And this reversal on the Epstein files shows that Trump can't completely control Congress. This reversal shows that there are limits to Trump's power. This reversal shows that Congress can stand up to the president and win. And that's actually important for democracy. Okay? So let me break this down into what actually matters, because there's a lot here and it can be confusing. But really, there's just a few core things you need to understand. Number one, what Trump actually did. And it's pretty straightforward, come on. Trump opposed the release of the Epstein files. Trump fought against the bill. Trump attacked people who supported it. Trump had the White House tell GOP lawmakers not to vote for it. Trump was basically trying to suppress the files. Trump was trying to keep them secret. But when Trump realized he was going to lose, when Trump realized Congress was going to pass the bill anyway, Trump flipped. Trump reversed course. Trump suddenly said he supported the bill. Trump went from opposing it to endorsing it, and it was a complete backtrack. Number two, why Trump opposed the bill in the first place? And this is the important question. Why would Trump fight so hard to suppress government files? Why would Trump oppose transparency? Why would Trump attack people who supported releasing information? The answer is probably because Trump was worried about what might be in those files. Trump was probably worried about what they might say about his connections to Epstein. Trump was probably trying to protect himself. And that raises questions. That raises questions about Trump's relationship with Epstein. That raises questions about what Trump is trying to hide. That raises questions about what might be in those files that Trump doesn't want people to know about. And those questions are going to stick with Trump. Those questions are going to hurt Trump politically. Number three, why this reversal is so humiliating for Trump. And this is important because it shows Trump's weakness. Trump tried to suppress the files. Trump used the power of the presidency to try to suppress them. Trump attacked people who supported releasing them. And Trump lost. Trump was forced to back down. Trump was forced to flip. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows that Trump didn't suddenly become pro-transparency. Everybody knows that Trump was forced to flip because he realized he couldn't win. And that's humiliating. That's embarrassing. That's the kind of thing that damages Trump's image. That's the kind of thing that makes people question Trump's power. That's the kind of thing that makes people think, wait, Trump's not invincible. Trump can be forced to back down. Trump's not as powerful as I thought. Number four, what this means for Congress and democracy. And this is the good news. This shows that Congress can stand up to the president. This shows that Congress has power. This shows that even when the president opposes something, Congress can do it anyway. This shows that there are checks on presidential power. And that's actually a healthy sign for democracy. Because if Trump had succeeded in suppressing the files, if Trump had been able to use his power as president to keep government documents secret, that would be really bad for democracy. That would mean the president is above the law. That would mean the president can hide anything from the American people. That would mean there are no checks on presidential power. But Trump didn't succeed. Congress blocked him. Congress was willing to stand up to the president. Congress was willing to release the files despite presidential opposition. And that's actually good for democracy. Number five. What this means for 2026 midterms, and this is important politically, because this Epstein files reversal makes Trump look weak. This reversal makes Trump look like he can be forced to back down. This reversal makes Trump look like he's not in control. And Democrats can use that. Democrats can point to this and say, look, Trump tried to suppress information. Trump tried to hide things, but Congress stood up to Trump. Congress forced transparency. This is what happens when you have a Congress that stands up to the president. And Democrats can also raise questions about why Trump was so desperate to suppress the files. Democrats can say Trump fought to hide the Epstein files. What's Trump worried about? What's Trump trying to hide? If Trump has nothing to do with Epstein, why did Trump try to suppress the files? Those questions are going to hurt Trump. Those questions are going to affect how people vote. Because voters care about honesty and transparency. Voters care about whether leaders are hiding things. And if Trump fought to suppress government files, if Trump tried to hide information from the American people, that says something about Trump. That says something about whether Trump cares about transparency. That says something about whether Trump is trustworthy. Number 6, what this reveals about Trump's broader strategy. And this is important because this Epstein file situation is part of a broader pattern. Trump is trying to suppress information in multiple ways. Trump is trying to suppress Jack Smith's report. Trump is trying to suppress classified documents. Trump is trying to hide things. Trump is trying to control what information gets to the American people. And this Epstein files reversal shows that Trump has limits. This reversal shows that Trump can't completely control everything. This reversal shows that Congress can resist Trump. This reversal shows that there are checks on Trump's power. And that's actually encouraging for democracy. That's actually a sign that the system of checks and balances still works. That's actually a sign that even the most powerful person in government can be forced to back down by Congress. That's actually a sign that democracy isn't completely dead. That's actually a sign that there's still hope. So this Jack Smith subpoena, this investigation of prosecutors, this retribution campaign, it's not just some Washington drama. It's about whether democracy survives. It's about whether the rule of law still exists. It's about whether prosecutors can be independent or whether they're subject to presidential retaliation. And right now, it looks like Trump is winning on some things and losing on others. Trump is winning on getting prosecutors subpoenaed. Trump is winning on investigating the investigators, but Trump is losing on suppressing the Epstein files. Trump is losing on controlling Congress. Trump is losing on hiding information. So there's a mix. There's some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that Trump is using government power to retaliate against prosecutors. The bad news is that Trump is attacking the rule of law. The bad news is that Trump is trying to suppress information. But the good news is that Congress is standing up to Trump on some things. The good news is that Congress forced the release of the Epstein files. The good news is that there are still checks on presidential power. The good news is that democracy isn't completely dead. And this Epstein files reversal is actually really important because it shows that Congress can win against Trump. It shows that even when Trump fights hard, even when Trump opposes something, Congress can still do it. It shows that there are still limits to Trump's power. And that's the message that needs to get out before 2026. That's the message that Democrats need to use. Democrats need to say, we can stand up to Trump. We can force transparency. We can hold the president accountable. We can protect democracy. Because right now, a lot of people think Trump is invincible. A lot of people think Trump is all powerful. A lot of people think Trump can do whatever he wants. But this Epstein files situation shows that that's not true. This situation shows that Trump can be forced to back down. This situation shows that Congress can stand up to the president. This situation shows that democracy can win. And that's really important heading into the 2026 midterms because it gives people hope. It gives people a reason to vote. It gives people a reason to believe that democracy can survive. It gives people a reason to think that they can make a difference. So this Epstein files reversal, this humiliating backtrack for Trump, this moment when Trump was forced to flip, it's actually a sign of hope for democracy. It's actually a sign that Congress can stand up to the president. It's actually a sign that there are still checks on presidential power. And that matters. That matters for the future of America. That matters for whether we're going to remain a democracy or become something else.